So if I got wiped of absolutely everything I have today, I have zero money in my bank account, I have zero connections, I can't use my story, let's just assume I had a cookie cutter life. I'm going to show you exactly how I would rebuild to a $1 million a year coaching business, which is roughly $83,000 a month. If you're wondering who I am, my name is Alex Newman. I've built a coaching business to over $2 million a year in cash, to double that. I'm just going to show you exactly how I'd actually restart, and then you can pretty well just follow along with this example person I'm going to make and apply this so that hopefully you can be making the same within 12 months of watching this video. So without further ado, the first phase of actually making this happen is going to be the niche that we have. So I have absolutely no life experience at this point. When I'm thinking about the niche and the way that I actually build my coaching business, I'm only looking to do one thing. And I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, but I'm essentially looking to reverse engineer an experience or goal that I have in my life. And then relative to the size of that, I can charge in price. And then width of people is the amount of people in that overall market. Now, in order to actually establish what this is, because once again, I have no experience, what I would do is I would go to the B2B space just because that's what I'm familiar with. And I know it's a bit easier to charge a mass high ticket, which I personally believe is the fast way to get to $83,000 a month because it's just 8 closes per month at 10K. And then obviously compound that with previous clients, whatnot. It is more simple than to, for example, charge a $500 product or even like $50 or $100 product. You have to close a lot less people. And if you do your content right, that's a lot easier to market to, especially when you have no experience. So the niche that I'd pick as an example of something that interests me personally would be trading. I want to get into trading, yada, yada. So that would be the niche that I actually go ahead and choose. Now, I know absolutely nothing about trading. I have nothing to do with trading. So what I have to go through and do now is earn my stripes. The first step that I would actually go ahead to do and achieve this is I would make a video and I would just go on YouTube. I'd record a video saying like, here's my life right now. And what this would pretty well do is it would establish the point A of my offer. When we're doing an offer, we're once again taking someone from point A here to point B or from point A to point B. And then relative to the size of that of transformation is what we can actually charge people to do the same thing for them. And establishing a really strong point A is going to be massive for actually documenting our journey because that's going to be how we create a one of one niche. So once I've got that whole premise done, I'd be recording video. The next thing that I would go through and do is I would just achieve my journey and document my journey to set a milestone. I would say, hey, I'm doing a challenge to make 10K a month within 30 days trading, for example. And then from that point on, what I would do every single day is I would just record a very low quality style video, just open up my camera, shoot, point and click with either like a phone selfie like this, or I would just go through and do a Loom video and I'd walk through my progress for the day. And I would just record that video series every single day, 10 minutes a day, up until me achieving that goal. And the only thing that I would obsess over up until that point is a few things. First off, it would be primarily trading, right? Because I'm trying to achieve and build that point B that I actually get to, which would be trading. And then the second thing that I would also do is make sure I'm collecting contact information. One of the biggest regrets that almost every coaching business owner I've met has ever made is that they didn't collect contact information earlier. They're in a bunch of these funnels, but they've lost emails and they weren't really collecting everyone that watched their content. So from the very first day that I start this journey, not even my coaching business, I'm not even selling a product yet, I would actually go through and I would now just collect emails. I would do a free school community would be the perfect example of what I would do right now. I'd have a free school community, just call it my club. And then on entry for everyone that wants to join, I would just collect their email. And then from that point on, as I get better and better at coaching I get better and better at trading. Now maybe I'm making like 2K a month. I'm making like $500 a day after 30 days, after 45 days. The next thing that I would start doing is I've got a very, very little gap between what I can actually help people with is I would start offering free consultations in return for testimonials. So what that looks like is I would go through with people, I'd hop on, I'd say, hey, yada, yada, yada. Here's what's working for me. I know you are just starting right now. Hey, could you give me a testament to your experience on this call? And it'll just be like a 60-minute calendar that you can put in your YouTube link to actually go ahead and speak with you. Once you have done that, what it's going to do is it's going to begin collecting a testimonial base of people that you've actually helped. And it's also going to begin refining the skills that you have as a coach to actually help people achieve the result, but then also understand your niche and market and who you're working with. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be offering these free consultations. You're going to be messaging people in your community, but you're also going to be going into other communities, interacting, and then also when you make friends, whatnot, giving them offers. I would be doing that up to the point where I've got around 20 free testimonials that I have. And then from that point on, as I get a bigger and bigger gap, slowly increasing my trading skill, the next thing that I would do is I would offer to coach somebody for free. I'd probably do this for about 5 people, especially the ones that I already gave that free consulting call 2, got a great result. I would work with them for free, absolutely zero money down for, I would just do it on a 30-day run period. And if you want to do another 30 days, you can do another 30 days just so you don't get trapped in agreeing like crazy 6 months free. And then what I would go through and do is I would just deliver the best results possible. And what this phase is for, you've got 5 people now, maybe you're making like $2,000 a month trading in this example. I would go through and I would actually take all these free people that I'm working with and I would measure where they started versus where they ended off. And I continue working with them. It's on a very like friend to friend basis. It's completely free. You have no expectations. You're really just hopping on calls with them, talking to them, sharing what's working for you. And I would create them into this little group, this little mastermind group that you're the head of, but it's pretty much like, hey, I'm one step ahead of all 5 of you guys, and we're just going to talk every day and get better and better and better together. And that would be the way that I begin to build my organic basis of what I do. This whole time, once again, I'm still posting those videos of what I do. And then I would just repeat that fast forward until about 3 to 4 months later, where now let's say I'm making 5K a month trading, or I have a sizable point A and point B. Now, if you want to start a coaching business from scratch, this is probably where you are right now. You probably already have life experience, especially if you're watching this video, that you can go back and turn around to sell. And if you want to actually see more on this, I spoke about it in that previous video there. Now you've got that set up. You've got everything that you need to actually go back and have a transformation that you're working with people on. The next thing that you want to do is you want to make it relevant to people. So your point A and your point B, it might not be the biggest thing in the world. It might only be worth $500, might only be worth $1,000, but there's going to be a lot of people that are mutual to it, especially if it's more in the beginner phases. So this applies to whatever coaching business you have. From that point on, what you're actually going to go ahead and do is going to take everyone that you work free with, and you're pretty well just going to offer them on that size of the gap an extended timeline to close. And this is something I've seen absolutely no one talk about, is the best way to increase your confidence closing and also make money. So let's say you want to charge $1,000, but maybe you don't feel comfortable charging $1,000 right now. You don't think you're worth it. What you want to do, instead of saying, hey, I charge $1,000 a month, yada, 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 what you want to do is you want to say, hey, I charge $1,000, but I'm going to extend it over 3 months. Or if it's a little bit higher, like $2,500 or even $5,000 that you think your actual gap is worth, you're going to extend the timeline for it. So instead of $5,000 a month, it's going to be $5,000 for 6 months. And now what that does is it allows you to, in your mind, associate that price with a lot less, because instead of being like, oh, in 30 days, I have to provide $5,000 worth of value, you now have 6 months and you only have to provide $800 worth of value each month. Or if you're doing, for example, the $1,000 and you're starting pretty small, that 3 months is only going to be $3,333 a month. Now, if you're working for them, and you're just working hard to figure out what strategy they can implement, what they can actually do, and you're doing that 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, take that and multiply it by minimum wage, and you're pretty well scamming yourself in order to help them. Yet at the same time, you're still signing on clients that you're actually able to coach and get better and better results for, so that gap increases. And then so as you get more proficient with sales, you can slowly decrease that time back to the potency that you actually want to charge at. And that alone can allow you to hit your first 10K a month, 20K a month in an extended period. And what it's going to do is, right now when you're first starting, you want as many clients as possible. It shouldn't matter to you whether you have to work with a client for 3 more months or 6 more months, because you just need raw data points. You just need more clients that you're working with to get results for, so that you can actually be good at what you do in the first place. So you should be happy that people want to stay with you and work with you for longer periods of time. So then the way to do that is you're essentially going to make the trade-off of, hey, I'm going to work with you for a very long time, but you're also going to get paid for it in the short term. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to build this crazy backlog of people that you have the ability to work with and improve your service for on the back end. And then immediately you're going to be able to hit your first 5K month, your first 10K month. If you're really good at this, maybe even your first 20K month. And then once you've gotten to that point, it is now going to be time to kind of sophisticate your marketing and what you do as a business. This would be the time where I move into things such as a lead magnet opt-in. This would be the time that I move into something along the lines of, hey, I'm running a book a call funnel to achieve this result. Or at that level, I'd also begin turning on ads once you're making that 20K a month. And it's all profit right now because you're doing it based off your organic and the YouTube videos that you're posting every single day. And then once you are running those ads, it is now time to actually scale your coaching business. So the best way to do that, and the way that I've at least done it, I don't know if it's the best, but it's the way that I've done it, and I believe it's the best, is going to be to, once again, decrease that timeline of, hey, I'm no longer now charging that $1,000 for the 3 months and it's $300 a month. I'm now charging $1,000 a month and it's $3,000 for 3 months. So it would be an example of you elevating and enhancing that offer. Now, once you've gotten that offer and you've really built it up, the way to scale is going to be doing a few things. The number one hire that you should be making is an appointment setter. An appointment setter is essentially someone who is not going to be going outbound for you. It's not going to be like that, but it's going to be when you create content, you almost have this big bubble around you. You have this big bubble of attention. You have people that view your content, which are on the very, very outer thin layer of the bubble. Then you have people that interact with your comment on the next layer, almost like an onion actually, of the onion. And then the layer after that is people that comment on your stuff. And the layer after that is people that join your Skool community. And the layer on the innermost section is going to be the people that pay you and our customers. And what essentially you're going to do is a setter is pretty well a person that roams those outer layers of the onion and they push people further and further and further in. So people that like your post, if you have an Instagram, every person that likes your Instagram, views your story, anything like that should be immediately contacted. Any person that likes your YouTube videos or comments on your YouTube videos, you should find their channel, see if there's any way to contact them. Every single person that joins your Skool community, you should be doing your utmost to get into complete contact with them. I kid you not, if you have at least like 200 subscribers on YouTube, that is more than enough leads to run a 20K, 50K a month coaching business. With that alone, if you extract everything out of those leads, you're calling them and you're messaging them again and again and again until they either give you a yes, I want to talk to you, hi, it's nice to meet you, or no, leave me alone. You're going to keep following up with someone until they get to that point. And if you do that, you're going to get so many leads that you actually have the ability to convert them. Now, caveat to that is that there's always going to be a sales cycle, and there's going to be a sales cycle, there's going to be a conversion cycle. Conversion cycle is the second that someone sees your face for the first time, how long it takes them to be a customer on average. And a sales cycle is once you've already spoken with someone, got them into a sales engagement, they know what your offer is, how long it takes for them to actually close. Each of these is roughly 6 to 12 months alone, or 3 to 6 months alone, around 12 months total at the maximum. And really what you need to understand now is that you're encapsulating, you're building this bubble around yourself, maybe you're running ads to it. There's going to be latent returns on the money that you get back as a result of working with this person. Then in addition to that, with your content and your appointment setter, what their job is going to be to do is they're pretty much going to take those conversion cycles, and by forcing those people into conversations, by pushing them into the earlier layers of the onion, they're going to force people into that shorter conversion cycle so that you have the ability to speak with them and then actually get them those results. And that is essentially the funnel that you can take up to 100K. You're once again going to be running very simple ads. I'm going to say this, and it's going to probably ruffle a lot of feathers. It doesn't really matter what your ad copy or creative is if you have a good offer. And that can be your lead magnet front end offer. It is also your sales offer. It doesn't really matter because people are going to pay attention if it's good. And I don't say that so you don't spend attention on it. I'm just saying it doesn't need like a dedicated mastermind or training on it for the sake of this video. But you're going to be running those ads and you're going to be getting people that are interested. You're going to be leads that are interested. If you don't have setters that are going absolutely ham on these people, it is going to take them 6, 12 months to pay you money, which most of the time humans are very impatient. You're going to forget about it and you're going to be like, oh crap, this doesn't work, even though you just haven't waited long enough. So the phase after that is the setters to actually shorten that cycle by getting people into conversation immediately when they opt in. So like 5 minutes when they give you their phone number, they're already on the phone, or they're already getting emails, or they're already messaging them on Instagram. That is what's going to allow you to push them in and get those returns quicker. And combine that with the organic content that now your ads are running and you're fueling your organic content. If you can sit at this one number I'm going to share with you, and that one number is a 10% lead to set rate, you're going to make a lot of money. Because the only other problem that can create is a sales issue, and then the sales issue can create a product issue, but I'll cover that in just a second. If you can set at that 10% lead to set rate, you have absolutely crushed your marketing. If you have a good offer, your content resonates on the front end, the big killer, and where most coaching businesses mess up, is they just don't try hard enough to set appointments. They just don't try hard enough to engage with their audience and actually interact with the people that are paying them their attention. So the way you're going to do this is that fundamental rule is you follow up till you get a yes or a no. And if you do that with every single lead, every single bit of attention that someone pays you that you can actually contact them on, you're going to absolutely crush. The next phase, and the worst thing that this can do, is create an abundance of appointments that you have absolutely no clue how to close. And I want to tell you right now that no matter what way you flip it, it doesn't mean that you should change your marketing the way you're setting appointments. It means that you likely suck at sales. You want to be doing this for at least 3 to 6 months before you ever make any changes on your front-end marketing. It's almost all the time just that you have not gotten good enough at sales yet. So the way to actually take all these leads that you're now getting at this 10% lead to set rate by pushing these people further and further closer to you in the onion to the phase where they're now actually speaking with you and your team and learning about your offer, you now need to go through and actually close these people. And the best way to do that is Fundamentally, you want to have a non-pushy sales sequence. It is not about what you say on the call or what objection you need to overcome to get them to close on the call. That is the 80% of the sales process that accounts for 20% of results. 20% of results that accounts for 80% of the sales is what happens before a call is scheduled. So the nurture sequences that they get to actually learn about your product, the content they consume, et cetera, and what happens after the call. Now, this is something that almost no one talks about. After the call, they, even if they don't pay you on the call right now, they could still be interested, but they just have objections that aren't answered in your mind. And that post-call email sequence is huge for booking appointments. A post-call email sequence to overcome more objections or even customize it to get them over the edge is absolutely massive for closing. And it's going to decrease that sales cycle once again, in addition to having follow-ups to your closers and yada, yada, yada. You get the point. So how you actually build this and the fundamental rules is when someone books a call with your team, you need to do the research for them. They have a problem that they've expressed interest that they want to solve as a result of booking the call. And if you don't do the research for them, if you don't show them, hey, here's the pros of this, here's the cons of this, here's how this works, here's how that works, they're going to do it themselves. And almost every single time there's a rule you can implement. If they do the research themselves, if a prospect does research themselves and not with you, they're likely not going to pay you. Where you actually get people to pay you is when, if they want to learn about the topic that you're helping them on. So like, for example, once again, I'm helping people trade. If they want to learn about trading and they want to learn about how to get to the desired result trading, let's say I got to 10K trading, that fundamental, okay, I'm creating content on that basis. If they're consuming that content between when they book the call and when they show up to the call is what is going to actually result in all the closes that I get. It has very little to do with what I say on the call because the call is only 20 to 40 minutes long. And really, all you're doing on a call is you're taking all the information that they have and you're specifying it to how you can help them individually. But if there's no burble of information that they know works and value that you can help them with, they are not going to close. And it's not even worth you joining the call in the first place. So the content that you have is absolutely massive for booking the call. You want to do the research for them. And the way that you do that is you're going to reverse engineer each part of the process to actually build this sequence. So what problems do people have? What questions do they have? And there's a few here that I'll actually give away for you so you can implement. The first one is going to be a pricing objection. You want to overcome the pricing objection. Then you want to overcome the 3 most common problems that you're facing. Likely a lot of the time it is a how is this going to work for me problem. So I like to call that the unicorn syndrome, where people think that they're special, things don't work for them. You want to overcome that by saying like, hey, this is going to work for you the same as it worked for all the case studies. The third one that you're going to implement, so you have the price, you have the unicorn, is actually going to be the mechanism that you do. So you're going to want to compare all the other mechanisms in the market versus your own. And then the rest of the emails, what you're going to do is you're going to break down the parts of your mechanism. So let's say I'm helping people trade through an automated system where I only trade like the first 2 hours of the stock market. Okay, so now I need to explain the 4 pillars of how I actually help people trade in the first 2 hours of the stock market. And every single email is a breakdown of how that works. And you pretty much just want to distill everything that you've done and then redirect them to a YouTube video. That's very important. You want to redirect them to a YouTube video that further covers that topic in the nurture sequence so that ideally what they're doing is they're waiting for the call, they get an email, oh crap, I see this thing, let me click this YouTube video, let me watch this YouTube video, and they keep doing that back and forth so that they keep watching content of yours before the actual call happens. And if you can do that, and the way that you actually structure the email, is you're going to go through, and every 3 hours, this is seriously how you do it. Every 3 hours, you're going to want to be providing them an email. And the only way that you can do this without having people get annoyed by it is to actually write good emails. If you're showing that you're putting care into this and your only goal is to show them about everything that you're doing, people don't mind getting an email every 3 hours because they're interested, they're excited for the call. So if you're feeding on that excitement by providing them value, that is how you're actually going to build this banger nurture sequence. Then from that point on, we've built this nurture sequence up. It is going to allow us to solve the first part of our sales problem. The second part of our sales problem is going to be the after call sequence, where you're essentially going to take every objection that you get on a sales call and you're going to reverberate it into emails that you once again send out to them. And then it comes to the meat of this situation, which is what actually happens on the phone. Now, the way that you actually cover and improve yourself in sales is just by obsessing over it. And there's no easy way to learn sales, to be completely honest with you. You have to get good at it. You can't just click this magic button or fix yada, 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 and you're good at sales. Now you can supplement it by being really good at other things in your business that make it still easy and possible for people to close. But the best way to get good at sales is just by spending like 6 months obsessing over it. And if you do a really good job and you actually obsess over it, you can solve this within 30 days. The way that I do this with all my coaching business partners is I pretty much say, hey, here is a few names that you want to close like. I want you to replace music that you were listening to, and every time that you are not actually like actively working and you're listening to something, I want you to replace that with something sales related. Do that for a month. Do 60 minutes of role play every single day. Warm up for your sales calls for 15 minutes like you're an athlete. That's a huge one. And then actually on each single call, rewatch it in 1x speed on Zoom. Do that for 30 days and you will be a monster at sales. Do that for 3 months and you'll actually be an expert and good at it and qualified to begin building a team around it. And then from that point on, we're going to be able to begin closing. That's going to get us to the range of from that 20K that we did with the actual extended timeline now to the 50K mark. Once we learn the sales and we have all those appointments set, the third phase is 100K a month. And the reason why 100K a month is a little bit different from 50K a month is because you have to have a good service delivery and a good back-end process. If not, you might be able to hit your first 100K a month, but you will not be able to maintain it. So the way that you actually want to do this is by building out a team. And a rule that you should have with the coaching business is that, especially if you're heavily leveraging organic content, you yourself, as the founder of the business, the face, the guide that they're looking at for everything when it comes to achieving the end result, are a massive, massive lever. If you show up to the calls and you have one-on-one sessions with them, they almost have a bias towards believing what you say. And now you can say that as a bad thing and say like, oh, well, if I tell them this is not true, they might still believe it. Don't do that. But they do have a bias toward what you say and everything that you actually have in your methodology because they paid you for it. So when you're facing problems with service delivery, the number one question you can ask them is, hey, why am I not close enough to this person and their situation? Because this is around the time where you start building up a team or you start building up processes and automations and courses. And the best way to solve all those and actually just have a really good service delivery until you can afford to hire experts that are the exact same skill level as you or a very similar skill level to you is to go through and to just spend the time with clients yourself. What this comes down to is not about, oh, how can I flip this system this way or how do I hire this person? It is how do I organize my week so that I can still maintain other parts of the business while being like very careful for clients and actually working with them to achieve great results. And the best way to do that is two things. First off, you need to understand that it's a big flywheel. If you design your client fulfillment process in a way where you're posting the case studies that you get on YouTube and you're taking the questions that they ask you on those calls and you're flipping them into YouTube videos, marketing assets, sales things that you do, first off, it's a net positive because you're getting real-time market information from your client customer base that you can use to get new customers that almost no one else is talking about, and the relationship between marketing and products like almost like one and two together like that. And then the second thing that you're also going to do is to dial in this process. You're just going to have 2 days a week, which you dedicate entirely to client delivery. So from whenever you start work, from whenever you end work, you're going to be focusing on client delivery. The morning's going to be focused on building course programs, done for you assets, whatever you need to achieve better results for someone. The second part is going to be just taking calls. And there's a few kind of calls we can take. First off, we can do one-on-one calls. Best way to do one-on-one calls is just to do once a week. And then as you really extend out the relationship, start to decrease the call frequency to roughly once every 2 weeks. And then as the final months ensue, once a month. And then to supplement all the time in between those calls, what you're going to do, you're going to build a really good mastermind. If you build a great community that's centered around you as the coaching business owner before you build out your team and your crazy service delivery processes, you can pretty much have a daily touch point with every client, a tight-knit community that you can use to actually get great results and also foster this massive sense of just togetherness with every client that you have. And you're doing one-on-one calls with these people in addition to, but if you're doing 3 times a week, or even what I recommend is just 5 times a week, make it something where it's just a daily occurrence to hop on with your customers, talk with them. You should know about each of them and they should know each other and they should know everything that's going on. And if you can do that and just kind of build this big vicinity around yourself, it is really the hack to having really good service delivery because you spend so much time with these people. And once again, it's only like a 2 hour a day commitment to do the actual inner circle and all the product work, but then you also accentuate that over the week. It's a 1 hour call every single day to do the inner circle. And then you have those 2 days where you have those one-on-one calls set up. 2 days for the week dedicated to one-on-one calls is only if you're actually at 100K a month. Up until that point, it's probably only going to be around one call or 1 day a week where you're doing just all stacked with one-on-one calls. And once again, those calls are 45 minutes long, rolling time. You help them, you hop on and you solve problems, you get better at them as time goes on. But that is how we get to the 100K a month service delivery. And then from that point on, it comes to supercharging the process. Biggest thing that I want to round this whole conversation back to is the very upper layer of that onion peel that we have right now. If we can take that upper layer of the onion peel and we can push people down faster and faster and faster and faster, the speed at which we do that is the speed at which we actually get results. Now, if we build this onion very large, it's going to take a lot to actually do that. So that's why I really recommend building up the setter team, getting it really advanced, whatnot. But really with this strategy alone, if you can just supercharge your marketing to build that onion, especially with organic, have that transformation from A to B, and then push people further in with your entire process, you are absolutely going to rip. And that is the timeline of how I'd exactly restart my coaching business to $1 million a year in 2024, even 2025 as we're going into it this year. I appreciate it. I hope the value that you got from this video was worth the time you spent. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.